All right, Monica here at the Monica Brant Show, day 2 of the American Fitness Expo here in Houston, Texas. And I am here with a very exciting, for me, guest to be able to visit with, CT Fletcher, a legend, world record holder, titles, all natural. I've heard so many amazing legends about you, and everyone is just in awe of your career, your longevity, what you've done in this industry and throughout the world. So I can't wait to get to visit with you a little bit.
Well, thank you very much for having me. And I can say the same thing about you, because I heard from Big J, your #1 fan, how fantastic you are. And he said she is the female equivalent of Ronnie Coleman.
He's been saying that, and very much an honor. I adore Ronnie, and he and I go way back. Ronnie and I do. And I haven't known Jay very well over the years, but I've known Ronnie, and I used to work with Ronnie a lot.
He was, Ronnie is the undisputed king of bodybuilding.
I agree.
The best of all time, the greatest of all time. And if you don't think so, is it okay if I say bad words?
Sure. You be you.
If you don't think so,
you be you.
Fuck you. He was very shocked to find out how old I was. I told him, I say, Ronnie, I'm older than you are. He goes, what? No, he's not. Looked it up. He said, yes, you are.
How old are you?
I'm 65.
I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. And when did you get started in this industry, and how did you get started? And that might be a loaded question.
Yeah, pretty much. I grew up in a house where my dad was a preacher. And my favorite story in the Bible was Samson, of course.
Of course.
Because he was the strongest person in history as far as I'm concerned.
No, you're right.
Yeah. And so I had a cousin. His name was Junior Miles. He was in and out of prison. And when he would come out and he would have the biggest arms I'd ever seen. So as a little kid, I wanted to look like Cousin Junior. So that got me started.
Cousin Junior?
Yep.
Wow, how big was Cousin Junior?
They looked like they were 30s to me, being a little kid, but he actually told me later on that they were 19s.
Just 19?
Yeah, just a mere 19 inches.
Goodness, so what was your first experience? Was it athletics, a sport, or was it just weightlifting, or?
Well, I did.
Taught you your first?
Junior.
Junior?
Actually, Junior came out of prison, and my dad went to the swap meet. I don't know if they got swap meets out, but it's like a rummage sale.
Right.
And so he goes,
I'm
goes
53,
out there.
So
okay.
Do you remember the word swap meet?
You're still young.
Still young, yes, sir.
Yeah, still young. See, look, my oldest daughter is 49, so you're supposed to be close.
Yes.
So he got me a set of what they call pig iron. Do you know what pig iron is? See, you're not quite old enough.
No, I don't know.
Pig iron is the weighted plates that have a 1-inch hole, in the middle of them. That's the easiest way to define pig iron from regular Olympic plates with the 2-inch hole. Okay. Pig iron has a 1-inch hole in it. Possible out there got us a set of York pig iron, and then my brother started out in the backyard.
Wow. What was your first exercise that you wanted to do? You wanted those arms.
I wanted them arms, absolutely. And curling was the way to get them, so that's what we did.
I love it. So then, so you started in the backyard and then went through, how did you start competing?
Very good question. I started competing, I seen a magazine with the cover with Chris Dickerson was Mr. America.
Okay.
And he was on the cover. And I said, whoa, I'm a little kid from Compton, California. I see a black man on the cover of a major magazine as Mr. America. That gave me hope that maybe one day I could do something like that.
I love it.
So I wanted to be a bodybuilder after seeing Chris Dickerson. And that's when we got our first set of weights. And so he was my inspiration to get started.
Were you able to actually get that magazine and have that with you?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Okay. So it wasn't like you just saw it, but you actually had it.
I took my paper route money and I got me a muscular development or whatever. But he was on another publication that didn't have anything to do with bodybuilding.
Okay.
It was a national publication, I believe Ebony Magazine, and had Chris Dickerson on the cover, Mr. America. That was my goal from then on, to be Mr. America. I didn't make it, but that was my goal.
Well, it got you on the path.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay, then how did the competitions actually start? Did you compete in bodybuilding?
Yes, I competed. So I started out really wanting to be a bodybuilder, and I competed in a local city contest, Mr. Inglewood.
Okay.
And I won Mr. Inglewood 3 years in a row. I'm ready for the big time now.
Of course.
Mr. Inglewood, and I did it with no calves.
No calves?
Absolutely no calves muscle. Every time the guys with calves would flex their calf muscle, I throw up a bicep. So it's biceps against calves. But I, of course, when you get higher, any competition, like nowhere near competition like you were in, the first Miss Olympia. But anytime you get higher than a local city level, you're gonna have everything.
Right.
So I wanted to do it, and they told me, and I kind of believe it's true. If you want to be Mr. America CT, you're gonna have to take steroids.
Okay.
Now, I don't think I wanted that bad.
Right.
But I was always a strong guy. I was always strong. I knew if you're really strong, you're gonna know it at a very early age. We're in the playground, in first grade, kindergarten. I'm tossing the other kids around, the other boys around. We used to wrestle instead of, look at recess, they call it. We'd be out there wrestling. So I knew I was stronger than my friends at a very early age. So strength was always my thing. So I just turned into a powerlifter.
Just turn into a powerlifter?
Yeah, let's see who's the strongest.
All right, so I know you've got some massive records, so please share with me, because I don't know what they are. I've heard rumors, but if you don't mind sharing, I would love to hear what your strongest lifts were.
3-time world bench press champion.
World?
Yes. My
bench press.
Strongest bench press, raw bench press was 650 pounds.
Wow.
And I was doing my best to get, at that time, the record was 705. Wow. I missed it a couple of times in competition, did it in the gym, but was not able to do it in competition.
That's just amazing.
And had a 2-time strict curl champion, which nobody knows what the hell that is. But now, it was a record that lasted 25 years.
And what was this one?
Strict curl.
Strict curl.
Yeah, your head, your back, and your butt have to be up against the wall.
Oh.
And then you curl. And that I did 225 pounds like that a lot of years ago.
225 pounds. One arm or two arms?
2 arms.
2 arms.
You give me too much credit.
Like, I haven't seen a dumbbell that big.
Yeah, it took 25 years for a Russian guy to break it.
Wow. Yeah. Do you, is that still,
yes.
Still a thing?
Yes, very much,
curl.
Very much.
And is that held at the normal powerlifting meets, or is that where do they hold that?
Some do, but they have dedicated strict curl contests now.
Okay.
I have my own strict curl organization, the International Strict Curl Association. We have world championships, national championships every year. And I'm also hooked up with Strict Curl Nation. They do it at the Arnold, the Olympia. Okay. So it's pretty big there. Yeah.
That is amazing. Now, can women do that too, though,
Definitely.
Right?
We have some very good women strict curlers, yes.
Wow.
You should join.
I should join?
Yeah.
They have my age group, I guess?
They do.
Yeah. What, do you know what the women are doing in the 50s?
I think about 80 pounds.
About 80 pounds. So
yeah.
I'll start practicing.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean,
I got a new challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you could give me a little tips on how to train for that if I decide to do that. Like CT.
Definitely, no problem.
That is so exciting. So you've got that 25 years record holder. That was fun, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
So the bench press, how does it feel to lift that much weight?
You know, as a youngster.
And first of all, how old were you?
About 30.
What was your first world record?
So 35 years ago.
So your first world record in bench press was
30 years.
That's 30. Mm-hmm. So, working all the way up to that. So it's not like all of a sudden overnight you're lifting that. It's like gradual, right? Mm-hmm. But you've always been strong. And then what was the difference in age as you said 3 times that bench press? What's the difference in age?
I was in my prime in my 30s. From 30 to 35 was my best years.
Okay, so you won all 3 in those.
Yeah. But my last competition, I started having heart problems around that time. Now, my mother and all 9 of her brothers and sisters passed away from heart problems. My older brother, a year and a half older than me, he also passed away from heart problems. So heart problems are hereditary in my family. So around 36, the doctor told me your aortic valve is gonna break and you're gonna die. So you don't want to get out there on that stage trying to lift 700 pounds and your aortic valve break and you're dead on stage and everybody's. And I looked at him and I said, I couldn't think of a better way to go, Doc. If I gotta go, what more glorious way to go than on stage trying to lift bench press 705 pounds. And I couldn't wait to get out there and give my best. I did.
And you did.
I did.
Wow. Where is your heart now? Like,
Okay.
how is your health now after all these years?
2018, I had to have a heart transplant. So I had my first open heart surgery in 2005. 2018, had a heart transplant. And in between those times, I flatlined 5 times.
God's not done with you.
Absolutely.
He's
That's
like,
the
I got more
answer.
for you to do.
That
CT.
is the answer. That's it right there. So people say, oh, you did this, you did that. I get no credit. I don't want any credit because it was all God. Absolutely all God.
How is your faith? Because you mentioned something about your family earlier with some faith there, right? Pastors,
Yeah, my dad.
preacher.
Yeah.
Your dad was a preacher. So how has your faith played a role in your career, in your life?
Absolutely. See, my dad was a preacher, but I don't consider myself a religious person.
Okay.
Religion and faith to me are 2 different things.
I'm right there with you.
So I am a man of faith, not religion. So people wonder sometimes, I don't know if God is real or not. Well, I'm a living witness to tell anybody that God is definitely real.
Yes.
Definitely real.
Yes.
I'm a living witness. Like I said, I flatlined 5 times, so I know God is real. And I also know that death is not the end.
No.
Not the end.
I love it. This is the meatiest, best part of this interview.
Yeah,
I'm a faith girl all day long. Jesus is my rock. And,
absolutely.
I every day see his hand upon my life and the people and the things that I get to do, have done, the protection, the divine appointments. Like, so this is a divine appointment right there for
Absolutely.
me. I mean, it's everything.
Yep.
And, inspiring and sharing the word of God and the truth and the relationship, right? Like you said, it's not religion. It's literally a relationship. I think that's what people get so torn by.
Yeah.
Because they've been hurt by religion
Oh, man.
and
Yep.
the religious people, and then they don't really understand that people are, fallible.
Yeah.
But God's not.
Yeah, it's
They try to put them together.
yeah,
Like-
it tarnished me on religion growing up in a super religious home to see all the people, what they preach and how they live.
Right.
Absolutely 2 different things.
Right.
So I'm very unimpressed by super religious people, but people that live right 7 days a week and not just on Sunday, they impress me. So internet people are trying to save me over the internet because I get a lot of people who got me burning and roasting in hell big time. And they're super religious, but I don't know those people.
You don't know.
And I can't observe you. If your life will speak. It's your testimony. How you live, how you treat people. That's your testimony.
Yeah, bring it. CT.
Oh, I'm done.
No, I love it. People need to hear this.
It's their testimony.
I mean, at the end of the day, people need to, especially now with everything going on in the world, like the world's just torn up. People are all confused. There's so much information. I mean, it's prophecy coming to life, and people need to hear
That's
what
what
you're
it is.
saying,
Yeah.
right?
That's
How do you respond to someone if they say, "Well, I've been a really good person, so I should go, God should let me into heaven or whatever." How do you respond to something like that if you have an opportunity to respond to that? Since I'm asking you, how do you respond?
Being a really good person is not enough. Okay, I'll give you a really good person. People think they're judging themselves by man's standard
Right.
of what's a good person. Okay,
Right.
I give a homeless person $1 every now and then. But a lot of people do things for social media.
Right.
Wasn't no social media.
No, me either.
They do things for, if you are helping somebody for likes on Instagram or for somebody to see what you're doing, I'm gonna give this guy $10, but film it for me. You're not gonna get a blessing for that. You're doing that for you.
Right.
But things that you do in service of God, they don't need an audience.
Right.
You don't need an audience for that. If you really are doing it from the heart, you don't need an audience for that. Just do it and shut up.
Right. Well, it's always a question of like, who's to judge how good you are?
Yeah.
Whose standards is it, right?
Yep. That's the final judge right there. They got a thing called the final boss. So that's the final boss right there.
Yeah, man, I love it, and God always just looks at our heart, right?
Absolutely.
And only He knows what's really in our heart, and when it's quiet and no one's around, and that communication with the Lord is the most important thing.
That's it.
How exciting. I love this conversation. It's been really wonderful to hear that about you and to learn that about you. And of course, all your athletic accolades and world titles. And obviously, you've got a huge following, people that love you and are inspired by you. And so God's not done with you. He's like, CT, you got to stay there because you need to get more people to me.
You know what? That
bring a little more people to me. Right?
Amazes me every day that anybody would follow me, but I thank God for it. I don't know why the heck why me? I didn't do anything.
Well, it's because the anointing that God has on your life, people recognize that and they feel it when they're around you, and that's obviously why this conversation came out, because of your words and how you spoke. And then I'm keen into it, and I'm like, I have more to talk about with you, not just your world records, which are amazing, right? And all that you've done for the sport and what you're still doing, continuing to do for the sport. So what would you say is your most biggest accomplishment within your athletic career? What would you say brings you or has brought you the most joy out of having either won or having something created from what you've done? Like, what would you say is your biggest joy in the athletic world?
Not even close. It's my son, Samson.
And you named him Samson.
Yes, I did.
Has he cut his hair?
Every week.
Oh no, he's got to grow that hair
That's
out.
what I told him. Leave it alone, man.
That's the Nazarene.
Yes,
that's the Nazarene commitment to God when they dedicated. Yes, dedicated. There's I think only 2 kids that were dedicated to God like that had that Nazarene promise over them, and he was one.
Right. I said, hey, leave him alone.
I know that story.
Yeah, him, following in my footsteps. I have an older son. He's not a weightlifter, but I'm very proud of him also. He's junior. And Samson, I'm super proud that he said I'm going to be a weightlifter too. And I never thought he would, never asked him to, but he just loves it.
Wow, he's had a great mentor, and I'm sure wonderful family life just growing up with you and having your role model father influence, especially because of the father.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, this has been wonderful. And family, do you have a big family?
Yeah, 7 kids, 19 grandkids.
7 kids, 19 grandkids. Wow. What do they call you? Granddad, granddaddy, or do they have a different name for you?
Grandpa.
Grandpa.
Yep, grandpa.
Are you grandpa to all 19?
All 19, yep, absolutely.
They all call you grandpa, so yeah.
Grandpa, yep.
Oh, that's great. How did it feel the first time you got called grandpa?
Great. It's one of my favorite titles. Besides the Superman from Compton, it's right up there.
That's awesome. Well, how can people find you and what's next on your plate?
Iron Addicts Brands with an S.com.
Iron Addicts?
Iron Addicts Brand. Iron Addicts is my company. IronAddictsBrands.com is the website. And all things CT Fletcher is right there.
Okay. And then, are you still out in California?
Yes.
You still in the same general area?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Wow. I bet you do some cool stuff for the community out there. And
doing my best. Absolutely. Doing my best. We have Iron Addicts Gym. I have Iron Addicts Gym there in Long Beach, California. Any veteran, any first responder, absolutely free.
Oh my goodness.
That's the least I could do.
Wow. What a blessing. Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining the Monica Brant Show. It's been one of my favorite interviews and get to just hear how God's using you and how He's used you and saved your life many times. One last question. When you were with your heart attacks, you said you flatlined. How many times? 5 flatlines. Is there any memory you have from those?
Okay.
Is that another loaded question?
Yeah. There's people always, they want to know what was dying like.
Right.
You died. So what was it like? It was the most peaceful. Nothing on earth can compare to death.
If you know God.
If you know God.
And He knows you.
It was ridiculously peaceful, undescribably peaceful. I felt I was only out. My wife told me, because, I'm dead. She said it was about 2 minutes, but that was the most. I felt like I was asleep for 2 weeks. It was the most refreshing, most comfortable. This time I flatlined at home. No doctors around anywhere, but I'm still here talking to Monica Brant because of God.
That's so good.
If you were flatlined at home for that amount of time, did you come back?
Yeah, I had a defibrillator.
So you had some at home that could help, but
implanted in my chest.
Oh,
so 2 minutes, it kick-started me back up.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Peaceful, huh?
Yeah.
I've heard so many stories from people that have flatlined, and there's some that, the stories I've all heard were Christian-based, faith-based, and they either were not faith-based Christian at the moment, but
it changed their mind.
saw something that they really were afraid of, and they called out to the Lord in that moment, and that they came back and they were like, oh no, like I've got to get right with Lord, right? And then you hear the other ones that were faith-based, and they're like, why'd you take me back after I got to see and feel and be in the presence of heaven, whatever they experience. And it's amazing to hear these stories, because I know I'm excited to be with the Lord, but I'm also thankful for the time I have here.
Absolutely. That's it. I'm no longer fear death at all, but I like living. I like being here with my grandkids. I like it. So I want to stay here a little bit longer.
I don't even know, though, like what's going to be like in heaven. Like, we have no idea. It's going to be so amazing. We can't even.
What I do know, Monica, is one of the more recent, but in like 2018, I flatlined again. I seen, during the flatline, I heard my mother's voice.
Oh, wow.
And I absolutely 10 million% know that it was my mother's voice.
Yeah.
As a kid growing up, the one thing I hated most in the world was to hear my mother cry. And I heard my mother crying, Monica, and she was asking God to give her son a little more time. And
I just got complete chill bumps my entire body.
Wow,
that felt like a wave.
Anybody that is wondering if there's anything after this, ask CT Fletcher. Yes, death is not the end. Absolutely, 100%.
Eternity is eternal.
Yeah, that's it.
And we're one of two places. So okay, this has been amazing conversation, at least for me.
Me too.
Thank you. Are these conversations that you get to have on interviews very often?
No, I love it when people ask me this kind of. I can't wait to tell it. You know what I mean?
Yes, you heard it here on the Monica Brant Show. I hope this has been exciting, invigorating, inspiring, and I hope that it draws you closer to the Lord. At the end of the day, you go work out all you want, exercise. You can flatline and not have the experience that CT had. But, man, this has been wonderful. Thank you very much. Oh, my gosh. My brother. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you on the next Monica Brant Show.